Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the Fintech Hunting Podcast. We have an amazing guest for you today. She's the host of Taco Tuesday, a diversity and inclusion expert, an evangelist, a recruiting aficionado. She's my media partner, dear friend. Please help me welcome back to the show, Dalila Ramos. Dalila, welcome back.
How you introduce me, I feel like extra pumped and fancy when you
Well,
introduce
it is well deserved. You are so well known in the industry. You're a mover and
me.
shaker.
Yes.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about, but first let's dive into, because I think it's a topic that a lot of people are surprised there's so much movement. But
Okay.
let's talk a little bit about recruiting. That's your area of expertise. What's going on in the recruiting world? I mean, people, I think, have the negative reaction of, well, people are making cuts, so there's no recruiting. And that's wrong, isn't it?
No, absolutely. Companies are always growing, Michael. Even in the midst of this current environment, things are not the greatest. It will come around back again, most likely, God willing, next year, but there's still opportunity for growth. What I'm finding is that, and I mentioned it in one of my videos, people that used to do maybe 6, 7 loans a month in the heyday in the 2020 and 2021, they're now down to 2 loans a month. And there's a cost to keep them as an originator for the company. And so they're being let go. That is a thing that's happening. The ones that are I call them twosies. The
Yep.
twosies, they're being cut. And it's the first time ever that they're cutting, that people are, I've been cut. And it's not because they don't want to do loans or the business is not there or their pipeline it's not full. It's because we don't have enough inventory, Michael. We just don't.
Interesting. And I think there's also a battle for top talent, right? I mean, all the companies are looking for that person who, even in a tough market, is closing 6 loans, 10 loans a
Oh,
month, even in tight inventory. So I think that it's an interesting market, that
it is.
recruiting is in many ways more critical now than ever because
Correct.
there's such a battle for top talent.
Yep. You got it. Yep.
All right, well, let's talk about, we've got so many other topics I want to touch upon. I know you mentioned this in one of your videos just recently about people hacking a feed, and I see your eyes roll, and maybe your t-shirt that you're wearing is very relevant to this discussion. I see that you've got a Disney Villains t-shirt on. So give me a little bit about your take on, when people hack the feed, and then I'll share a little of my insights.
You know, I know it's growing pains. I know it's going to happen. The more your platform grows, the more your visibility grows, people are going to want to, you know, share, take your content. Um, and what hijacking is, for those folks that don't know, is when someone comes into like your comments or your feed, right? And then like promotes their products and their services on your post. And if it's a direct competitor, it's even like so.
Well, so I agree with you. I think, the
Like,
one
hey,
phrase we hear quite a bit is imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
correct.
And I'm great with people tagging us. I'm great with
Yeah.
people adding their insights to a feed. But when they actively promote their product, which is a direct competitor,
Yeah.
I personally just think it's poor taste.
Yes.
I think,
A villain.
for those of you out here that are listening that have done it, shame on you. Don't do it. It doesn't help your product or service, you
No,
know,
it kind of looks a little like tasteless.
desperate.
Yeah, a little bit, because the truth is you should be promoting yourself, your brand, your services on your own platform. But I know it comes with the territory, and it's just one of those things. Well, I'll side eye it, but truth is I won't. I mean, I did do a taco video about it because it is a thing, right?
Right.
But I'm not going to call the person out or the company or anything. I'm not going to do that.
Right. No, and we would much rather take the high road. And like we said, we want people to comment. We want people to engage.
Woo!
There's
Yes.
nothing wrong with that. It's when there's that overt, I'm now going to pitch my product. And it may not even be a direct competitor. It may have nothing to do with the discussion. I've had that happen, and you're like,
Yeah.
that
It's like,
has nothing to do with anything we were talking about. So,
yeah.
all right. So we've talked about people hacking feeds and everything.
Mhm.
The other thing, you and I are on a lot of calls. We talk to a lot of executives, from lenders, from vendors.
Yes.
One of the things that I'm really surprised at that is still happening, and I kind of wanted to get your take, is how important brand visibility is now, and balancing that with how people want to cut back and cut back and cut back. Tell me a little bit about that. I saw your eyes roll, so give me your feedback.
I think my shirt is having an effect on me. I should have changed it. The IRO, it's something that you and I talk about so much, and it's something that I've realized that I have to talk about more often, whether on Taco Tuesday or any other platform, because your company and your organization has to be visible. You have to be present, whether on social media, digital marketing, campaigns, whatever it is, right? There has to be some kind of presence. When I Google your company, if I don't find anything about you, to me, it's a huge red flag. Huge red flag.
Well, and I agree. And I think the knee jerk reaction is it's a tough market. We had to make some cuts. We had to let some people go. Oh, marketing is just one of those things that when times get better, we'll do more of it. And you can't just turn it on like a faucet. I think one of the greatest superpowers that you and I have that we preach to people all the time is consistency, right? You need
Yep.
to consistently be out there. Now, maybe you don't attend all of the trade shows you used to, or you do it with, instead of 8 people, it's 2 people. And instead of doing all of the different parties and get togethers, you host something smaller. But I still think having a presence is absolutely critical if you
Yes.
want to stay relevant and stay in the game.
You have to stay top of mind. People have to know who you are, where you're at, what you're doing, and you have to consistently tell that, like, you amplify yourself, your message, right? It's nonstop. No matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing, where you're going, people have to see you, know who you are, know your business. Um, because it becomes a, when they need you, they'll think of you right away. And it's a warmer
It
call.
is, and timing's everything. And if they
Mhm.
don't see you, if you're not present, if you're not
Correct.
relevant, then when the time is right for them to make a decision, they're going to go with someone else that they
Oh
saw
yeah,
out there. The
exactly.
other thing we hear a lot of is, well, can I just try that? Can I just try like 2 social posts, or can I get, a video or 2, or can I
I mean,
talk to me about why that doesn't work? And it's not to bash anyone. It's really to really emphasize why that strategy doesn't work. Talk to
it
me a little
does.
bit about that.
And again, the eye roll happened again because we're living in a time where people want instant gratification. They want instant results. And that is not how it works, right? They will say, well, I want just one video or just
One
two.
press release, right?
Yes,
Get me
just
one
one.
article published, and that's now going to send the
Yeah,
phones ringing like crazy. And
it's
it
not.
doesn't work that way. And I think it's part of it is the mindset that we have in the mortgage industry is very transaction focused, right?
Correct.
Instead of relationship
Relationship.
focused. And if you're relationship focused, you're in it for the long haul, and you know that I just got to keep building the relationship. I got to keep moving it forward. And if I focus on adding value, then they're going to see me out there in 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 videos, 3, 4, 5 press releases, articles, email campaigns. It's that consistency again that is going to do it, not just the let me dabble and put my foot in. Here's a topic I want you to answer, and I'm throwing a lot at you, kind of, fast forward, just throwing them at you. But one of the other things we run up against a lot when we're doing videos and everything like that is, oh, I'll get back to you. I'm not sure. And they have some hesitation from getting on camera. Talk to me about how you work with executives, how you make them feel comfortable, because some people truly have a fear and a hesitation of getting in front of the camera.
So, okay, I've done this before. I'm not proud, but on Taco Tuesday, if we're at a restaurant, I've had to give I've had to give people shots of tequila.
Well, I've never done that for a Fintech Hunting podcast, but that's a first here.
Because I'm on a time frame right now. I'm gonna need you to
So talk to me though, why you think
Oh,
people are hesitant. What is it that is it fear? Is it they're scared? Is it perfectionism? What do you think it is?
it's all of that. A lot of folks, you and I come from the generation we did not grow up with a camera, right? We did not grow up the way some of these younger generations did, right? So they're just not accustomed to being on video. If it's a platform like yours or mine, where it's thousands of eyeballs on it every single week, they just feel they like glaze over. They're scared. It's just they're
Yep.
scared. They're scared they're going to say something wrong. They're going to say something stupid. Their face might look. Um, but I tell them all the time, it's one of the reasons why I'm such like a believer of the one take. To this day, for Taco Tuesday, it is one take. I mess up all the time, and you may not notice it, or folks may not notice it. I keep it moving, but I mess up a lot. A lot.
So I love that you mentioned that, because I think
Yeah.
fear is a reason why, and that perfectionism. I agree with you. I'm a one take person.
Yeah.
I think what I have found is people, when they see that you screw up or you're tongue tied once or something else, it's much more believable than something that is so polished, that is over commercialized, in my opinion. It's a little unbelievable. And I think that's why we can joke, we can laugh, we can talk about your villain's t-shirt, and we can talk about whatever it's going on, or, tacos or peanut butter and jelly, or any of those. We can laugh and we can joke, but the whole goal of us doing videos is to help other people, to add value. That's
Yes.
why we're covering some of these topics that are pain points for people. We want to help you. We want to get your story out there and get your story told. Talk to me about the importance then of video. What impact have you seen it have on your business and
Oh,
on other people's business?
I mean, I need video every single day. My company, what I do for a living, day in, day out, relies heavy on video. And I still am a firm believer of the one take, of the being transparent, letting folks in, seeing my flaws. And I do want to say something. The reason why I do that, because they get to also know the real me. I see a lot of, whether this happens a lot in like the realtor space, the agent space, and even the originator too, where they just are on camera and they have these really fancy name brand clothing, or they're looking out the window, and then they have like some quote, and I'm like, what are you, first of all, what are you looking at out the window? I really want to know what's out there, right? But I mean, like, they don't, but yet I know deep down their target audience could be heavy Govy, right? Heavy FHA, VA. So you're in Gucci and Louis Vuitton, but yet your target audience is, you get what I'm trying to.
I think that's an excellent point, because you want to relate to your target
Yes,
audience, and
yes.
it's about being genuine. It's about being authentic. People know that I'm a Notre Dame fan. Some people love them and some people hate them, but that's okay. I mean, I get on calls, and usually when somebody speaks up, they're not a big fan. And I'm like, okay, great. I had someone the other day said, I loved your video. Too bad you're a Notre Dame fan. Go Ohio State. Awesome.
That's
You know
cool.
what? It's cool, and we can joke about whether it's college football or basketball. I think it's that genuineness that is so relatable. And that's why we
Yeah,
have very high engagement numbers.
correct.
That's why, when you said there's thousands, Believe it or not, it's now tens of thousands
Yeah,
that
it
are
is
viewing our videos on a
a
weekly
week on a
basis.
weekly basis. Yeah, it's a lot. And then that transpires into a warm call because people, they know you. They know the
Right.
real you. It's not a facade, it's not made up. It's really who you are. And when you have the ability to portray that via video, it brings your sales pitch or to the next level. It really does. It's much easier, it's warm, they're comfortable, you're comfortable. It's just a win-win across the
Well, and
board.
it builds up trust because
Yeah.
they feel like they know you. They've seen 20, 30, 50, 100,
Yep.
200 of your videos or your podcasts or your Taco Tuesdays or Amplify. When they see that, they get a little bit of view into how you think, how you operate, and that attracts like-minded people. And
That's
then
right.
when you look at how do you close more business, people buy from people they like, they know, and they trust.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Plain and
Let's
simple.
talk. We've got a few more minutes. I mean, we're covering a lot of topics here, and you and I could talk for hours on end. We won't do that to everybody today, but conferences are coming up. Let's talk conferences because I think a lot of people are again on the mindset of, oh, conferences. There's a bunch of them. They're all close together, and we're cutting back, so we're not going to any this year. Give me your feelings on that and why that's not a great idea. Let's talk conferences, live events, and how to have a presence.
So I do get that you can't hit every conference like you did maybe the years before. I get it. So I advise people to pick out two or three. You have to go to conferences. I don't care what, especially if you have a product, because a lot of the decision makers are the ones that go to the conferences. So this is your audience. This is your time to promote and sell and build relationships or start relationships. So you pick two or three, and those are the ones you really just get a plan out, be strategic about it, and hit hard. And one thing I've implemented myself this year is I'm going to a conference I've never been to before. I'm not going just to the same old conferences. And we all know who they are. I'm not calling nobody out. But
Well, so let's talk about that a little bit because I think when we talk conferences, not only are not all conferences the same, but I don't think the approach should be the same for all of them. Some maybe you should exhibit, some you shouldn't exhibit. Some you have a badge, some you don't have a badge. Some you have a bunch of meetings. At the end of the day, you should know before you ever go to any of these if you're going to be successful because you have appointments booked. And one of the tips that I think is absolutely critical in today's market, if you want to be successful at conferences, you have to start much earlier. Just like everyone's telling me, sales are taking longer. I'm fighting with status quo. Well, guess what? If you think a week or two before, let's just say MBA annual, you can start calling people and get on their
no,
schedule,
oh
you can't.
no, it's not going to
Because
work.
the people that are going to be at those conferences are the ones who are going to be in this industry for the long haul. They're going to be, and they're committed to long-term sustainability, but guess what? Their calendars are going to be filled because so many more people are reaching out to them. So you've got to start earlier and you better have something of value, not just let's meet,
Completely,
right?
completely agree with you. And I will also add this. You pick out your two or three. And I've done this before, and it happened a few years ago, and it was a game changer for me. I went to one conference only for me. There was really no agenda. I needed to learn a specific, you know,
Skill
panel,
set or trade or whatever it may
right?
be.
So there are sessions because I too always want to be a sponge. I always want to be, soaking up knowledge and learning. If there's a space that I'm unfamiliar with and there's a conference focused on that space, I'll register. I'll go just for myself to sit in sessions, to check out panels, and let's see what I can learn. And maybe it could be a possible, opportunity for me. But I invested in myself. I invested in myself.
I
And
love that. I think that's critical. One of the other terms that keeps coming to mind as we're talking about is people need to be very intentional,
yeah,
right? The concept that doesn't work is what I call the Krispy Kreme approach.
Yeah.
You don't do any work prior to it. You get to your booth, you put some Krispy Kremes down, and you hope you're going to have a great show.
Mm-mm.
Fail, miserable. If you didn't book appointments prior to, you're going to struggle. If you don't have anybody at your booth who is engaging and dynamic and talking to people, you're going to fail. And if
Yes.
you don't have a booth, thinking that you can just go show up and sit in the lobby is a mistake. You still need to schedule appointments. You need to have meetings, whether it's breakfast, whether it's lunch, whether it's dinner. Leverage video, right?
Yes.
Get your name out there, get your story told, and duplicate your efforts by getting out there in front of people. You've got some coming up. I've got some coming up. You're going to be at Originator Connect very quickly.
Connect, in Vegas. That one's coming up, and that one's a new one for me. Mm-hmm.
Outstanding. We've got a couple of others that we're looking at in September. We will definitely be at MBA Annual.
Yes.
We're going to have a big announcement, or I should say a VIP exclusive announcement coming up. It's going to be invite only. So I'm sorry if some of you listen and you're not on the invite list. Maybe you got to engage with our content more. Maybe you got to reach out to us. But we're just teasing that topic right now. It's called the Curiosity Approach. You'll be hearing more from us as we get closer. Dalila, as we're winding down, you and I have covered so many different topics. What's one thing you want to leave people with today as you're getting ready to head to Originator Connect, as you're talking to other lenders and prospects and talking recruiting and engagement? What's one thing you want to leave with them today?
So, because of a call that I had earlier today, don't give up. Don't give up. You have to keep moving. If the channel or the role that you have now is working out, you're going to have to take a leap of faith and try a different channel, or try sales, or try, mark. You're going to have to pivot, like you say. But don't give up. Just don't.
I love it. And what I would end with is, as you don't give up, you have to also be willing to make that pivot and that shift and say, I've got to realize that, the sales cycle used to take 3 months. It's now 6 months. I need 3 times more content. I need 3 times more videos. Quit getting in the mode of I can be one and done, from the perspective of I can send one email and it's going to be a hit. I can do one video and I'm going to be super successful. I'm going to get one article published. It doesn't work that way.
No, it does not.
It's a multi-pronged approach where you have to foster and build relationships. Dalila, you are a rock star. I'm sure everyone is going to stop you at Originator Connect if they see you. Stop you. I can't wait to see you. I know in October, we're going to see if we can work something out in September. Correct. But thank you so much for being a guest on this episode, the Fintech Hunting Podcast. Thanks, my friend.
Bye.